I wanted to get your read on the briefing today. Really long briefing in the White House briefing room. And with Trump, there's something so interesting when it comes to his posture. He has the instincts, I think, of a populist, and he looks at things like crime and the immigration, two really good examples, and failed wars, adventurism in the Middle East, and knows that the average American is sick of it. And on the other hand, sometimes you can see where it's like, okay, is he trying to be, for example, Bukele, or is he trying to be just a guy who's like tough on crime, Giuliani mayor figure who cracks down on some of this ridiculousness? So how do you think he sees himself? Like, is the left wrong to be like, oh, this is him, trying to be an American Bukele, or is he just sort of trying to be a Giuliani Bloomberg type figure who brings crime down?
Look, I mean, I think he just has a very coherent view, which is that it's America first. And America's capital is Washington, D.C., which is a disgrace. I mean, I've been going there every week since I've started this podcast. And I mean, I used to live there back when I was at university, and it has gone downhill in every possible metric. It is now the #1 murder capital of the world. It's more dangerous than Mexico City and Baghdad. And what does it take? You had a young intern murdered, shot dead in what should have been a safe area, going to McDonald's at 10 o'clock at night, a White House intern. Remember there was an Uber driver.
Oh, this story's awful.
Oh, dragged to his death. These little girls thought it was funny to carjack him. There was that husband who went to pick up his wife downtown after work. I think it was 6 o'clock at night. He's sitting in the car, gets murdered. And then there was Big Balls the other day, the Doge or former Doge worker. He gets beaten to within an inch of his life, gets a severe concussion, protects his girlfriend, and ends up just being, with blood all over him. And these are assaults at the heart of the Capitol. And so I think it just offends Donald Trump that there are homeless encampments, that it's violent and dangerous. The young people that work for him in the White House, they are walking home. They are late at night because they work long hours. They're catching public transport. He wants them to be safe. He wants tourists to come to Washington, D.C. and be proud of what their taxes pay for. And it is a beautiful city. I mean, it's full of the most spectacular monuments and museums and these big, broad plazas, and it's defiled by the disorder that always seems to accompany democratic cities, plague democratic cities. And so he has the power to go into DC. It's not a state. And he's doing what he ought to do. And, for all the complaints from Democrats and their stupid little chanting and singing and carry on, they're the ones benefiting, really, unless they're like Chuck Schumer and they have round-the-clock Secret Service details and chauffeured limousines paid for by the taxpayer, AOC the same. Most people, their staffers are at risk as well. So I think most Democrats, and the other ridiculous thing the left is saying is that somehow this is racist. Basically, the biggest victims of the crime in DC are Black people, because they form the majority of the people who work there and live there. And so it's not racist, it's anti-racist, if anything. So I think it's completely coherent, and it's just the left has nothing to attack Trump on except they call him a racist, they call him authoritarian. The authoritarian thing is just an offshoot from their lie about his being elected by Vladimir Putin, and so he models himself on Putin. It's just threadbare. They have nothing else. They have no positive policy agenda. And all Trump is doing, it's not ideological, it's plain common sense. It's what a businessman does when he comes in to take over a company and there are all sorts of problems in it. And he just systematically sorts each one of them out. And he's now come to DC, and I'm sure he'll sort that out like he sorted out the border.
So Donald Trump, the people around him, you've talked to them, and I was just telling the audience I took a bike ride around Union Station, Capitol Hill before we went to air to get a sense of what it looks like out there right now. There are early reports that there are heightened police presence, National Guard, other law enforcement patrolling the streets of DC. I didn't see anything too different yet, but I would imagine that's going to be one of the very first places they start. There was a bit more, it seemed like there was a bit more of a police presence, but that raises the question of how far do you think he will go on this, Miranda? Like, knowing him, knowing the people around him. I thought your framing just then was super helpful. He sees this as a businessman and a pragmatist above all else. So what does that kind of look like for DC? Does he want the National Guard really roaming the streets and you're cracking down?
Well, I mean, that's all a bit of a joke considering that Nancy Pelosi, after January 6, having blocked the deployment of the National Guard to come and help with this enormous crowd of people, that poor old Stephen Sund, the Capitol Police Chief, had been begging her for days. And she and Muriel Bowser got together and decided that there would not be any National Guard. I think it's because they genuinely, because they're so Trump deranged, thought that Trump was going to use the military to stay in the White House, not to leave on January 20. Whether or not they believed that or just wanted to sow mayhem to get Trump afterwards, I don't know. But it was their fault. And she then, remember, she militarized DC. There were fences everywhere. There were National Guard that were camping out in underground garages eating maggot-filled food because she didn't bother to make sure that they were adequately supplied. So that was what we had. So if anyone should be accused of authoritarianism, it's Nancy Pelosi. I doubt very much whether DC is going to look like that again, although all those lefties and Democrats that never uttered a peep about Nancy Pelosi's authoritarian impulses, now I'm sure that, there's the first sign of a couple of National Guards on K Street, they'll be hyperventilating about Trump being a dictator. So I think what he'll probably do is it'll be sticks and carrots. Muriel Bowser will sort of be bullied and encouraged into whipping her own police force into shape. If she doesn't do that, then there might be, the next step ratchet up. I think whatever way it's done, DC residents will see cleaner streets, safer streets, and they're also very lucky to have the new US Attorney for DC, Judge Jeanine Pirro, and she really is a tough nut. And the way she was speaking today, she's frustrated about not having the power to prosecute any of these people, particularly juveniles, who she says are instead of getting into trouble for carjacking and creating mayhem and violently attacking people, they're getting yoga lessons. So she's pretty furious about that. And, it's sad. These kids are probably not got great home lives, but it doesn't help them to have them encouraged to become criminals on the street. So they should be diverted into some sort of situation where they can be tamed and maybe taught how to read and write and have a productive life and not destroy the lives of everyone else.
Yeah, and just because DC is at the focus of the national news cycle today, I'll add a couple of bits for this. The DC Police Chief, Pamela Smith, has said that they've seen an increase in youth crime. There have been what sort of are informally dubbed like teen takeovers of a very popular high-end neighborhood, Navy Yard, very, very popular with young people who work on Capitol Hill and in other places of the city where it's just basically lawlessness and anarchic, and the cops have had a really hard time reeling it in. Also, also, truancy is not recovered from before the pandemic. I mean, just shocking levels of truancy in DC public schools. So the city people here in the city are willing to admit all of these different problems when it's not in the middle of a culture war. Well, over the years, I've been clear about this. I'm not just pro-birth, I'm pro-life. And being pro-life, of course, means standing with mothers, not only before their baby is born, but long after. And that is exactly why I partner very proudly with Preborn. Preborn doesn't just save babies, they make motherhood abundantly possible. They provide free ultrasounds and share the truth of the gospel with women in crisis. And then they stay with real practical help, including financial support for up to 2 years after the baby is born. Amazing. This is what true Christ-centered compassion looks like, not just for that little baby, but for the mother too. And here's where you can make a difference. Just $28 provides a free life-saving ultrasound. One chance for a mother to see her baby, and when she does, she's twice as likely to choose life. Preborn is trying to save 70,000 babies this year, so don't just say you're pro-life, live it. Help save babies and support mothers today. Go to preborn.com/Emily or call 855-601-2229. That's preborn.com/Emily.